One of the times that I got arrested, I'll never forget being in a jail cell, praying and crying out to God, like, Lord, if you just get me out of this situation, I promise, like, I'll get my life together. I'll stop making stupid decisions. And then I wouldn't. Again, I had tried talk therapy, wasn't really progressing me forward. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, so that was reflective of a diagnosis of bipolar, typically a life sentence of medication management. Through a series of neurofeedback, I was able to truly have the opportunity to rewire my neuroplasticity and my neural pathways. The new scan showed not one clinical pattern of bipolar whatsoever. The Lord literally gave me a second chance at life, and so it was game over from that day. I had a fire like absolutely lit inside my soul. I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life. Like, I am on this planet to help other people improve their brain health. So went to school, got my master's, got some cool letters by my name, and then began this crazy journey of founding and owning and growing Braincode Centers.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast. If you're new to the podcast or just this new century of our newest 100 episodes, we've become a very smart podcast. We talk about very smart things such as the brain. And we're going to talk about it today. We have Angie back from Braincode, as well as Rachel, the CEO. As I understand it, that means Chief Executive Officer. That's what I learned in school.
Founder,
smart podcast.
founder, owner, yeah.
Well,
all of it.
We're glad to have you here. We learned a lot. So I went into the episode with Angie I had no idea about any of this stuff. Doug had kind of told me about it, but he did a really bad job. So I didn't really understand what you all
He didn't
did.
believe me. So I said,
I
okay,
don't
let
even
me call
understand
Angie and she can tell you.
And then she did. And since that episode, I've learned a lot, and we've had a lot of feedback. Not neurofeedback, but like audience feedback to your episode. A lot of people interested in what you all do. And so we're going to talk about how this whole thing started, because I look at the concept that you're doing, and I'm like, how could anyone think of this? How does this begin? So we're going to hear your origin story of Braincode and all that you do, and we'll dive into some questions about the brain and different ways that people can heal and grow and things that you guys do to help. But first, let's hear a little bit about you, Rachel. Give us a quick snapshot of your life. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Rachel Lambert, and I'm super excited to be here. Basically, right, a lot of stories of purpose and careers and all that start with some level of suffering, and that really was my story. So I grew up in a really supportive household. My dad was actually a pastor, and my mom was a daughter of Billy Graham's right-hand man. So he was out.
okay.
Yeah, my grandfather, awesome. That being said, right, PK, Billy Graham, like, it was a stricter household, but nonetheless so supportive, not like trauma, not a lot of like legalism or anything like that. However, from a very young age, my mom still reminds me to this day, like, I was just very reckless, very impulsive, very difficult kiddo to manage. Older I got, right, middle school, started smoking weed, hanging out with not the best of crowds. Then in high school, I start drinking a lot, using illicit substances pretty regularly, like very intensely, doing horrible in school. Got arrested more than the one time. And that began kind of the question of what is going on, like, with our daughter. She's very out of control, like, good environment, horrible choices. It's pretty awful. I mean, hitting rock bottom on the regular. One of the times that I got arrested, I'll never forget being in a jail cell, casual. And I just remember so vividly, like, praying and crying out to God, like, Lord, if you just get me out of this situation, I promise, like, I'll get my life together. I'll stop making stupid decisions. And then I wouldn't again, right? And another, I'm sure, situation happened, and my parents ended up sitting me down this time and asked me a different question. And it honestly was the most simplistic question I'd ever been asked, but it totally changed the trajectory of my life. They said, Rachel, do you think before you act? And as simple as that is, I seriously sat back and I was like, nah, not much thinking going on. Like, I just figure it out and hit rock bottom. So it was that conversation that led us to start to look for other ways to address my mental health. I had tried talk therapy, wasn't really progressing me forward. I was too stubborn, just as a person, my personality, to want to feel reliant on medication for my entire life. So we started looking, and my parents thought, like, what else is out there? They ended up hearing about this honestly super weird brain mapping and neurofeedback thing, but they gave me an ultimatum. They said, you will go do this or else you will not go to Baylor. So I was like, I'll do the brain map. I went and did the brain map, and essentially my frontal cortex on the scan was moving 150 miles an hour with no brakes. Wow. So for anybody listening, your frontal lobe is what makes all your decisions for you, right? It's like the CEO of your brain. So if you're going 100 miles an hour and don't have the ability to stop, horrible decisions are going to be made. So through a series of neurofeedback, I was able to truly have the opportunity to rewire my neuroplasticity and my neural pathways. And at the end of that brain map, so I was actually, to roll back, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So that was reflective of a diagnosis of bipolar, typically a life sentence of medication management. I did all of the therapy. At the end of it, the new scan showed not one clinical pattern of bipolar whatsoever. Whoa. And at that point, truly like getting to see the before and after, I was like the Lord literally gave me a second chance at life. And so it was game over from that day. I had a fire like absolutely lit inside my soul. I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life. Like, I am on this planet to help other people improve their brain health. So went to school, got my master's, got some cool letters by my name, and then began this crazy journey of founding and owning and growing Braincode Centers. So super, thankful.
That was probably the most fruitful first 5 minutes of an episode we've ever had.
By far.
We've never even had a real conversation at this point in an episode. So well done. And thanks for immediately sharing your testimony, or some of it. And we got some more questions for you about that. Where are you from originally?
From Denver.
Okay, so are you a Denver sports fan? It's important we establish sports.
Well, secret actually. So take yourself back to the back-to-back Super Bowl rings.
Oh, yeah.
There was a reason, in our opinion, partial silent credit, some of those starting linemen of the Denver Broncos may or may not have been training their brains pretty significantly. So peak performance, optimization, how do you tap into your best asset, the brain? I don't know. No one knows. So that being said, I was more of a fan, I think, back then, maybe because they were like winning or something like that.
Should they do it again? I'm not going to say they should or shouldn't.
They should.
Should all the Broncos do Braincode? Is that what you're asking? Probably.
Am I making a suggestion?
I mean, Bo watches this every week.
Yeah, all the Broncos are obsessed with the Afterthoughts podcast.
Listen. Yeah. They're super strong, right? Everybody's fit. They're all like from the neck down. They're training everything. But like, what is going on up here?
Well, I'll do your map next week.
So you're still waiting for your Super Bowl rings from the 90s then?
I haven't gotten those rings yet. I should probably have asked that.
I feel like they should be in.
We'll email them. We'll email the Broncos on your behalf.
Yeah.
Angie, what do you have to say for yourself?
Ditto.
Very good.
She likes sports.
I love
sports. Knicks fan.
I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and Bo was playing at Oregon.
Yep.
I want him to do well.
We'll get him into Braincode.
Fired up. If he had gone to Seattle, I might have been a little bit happier, but he's not. He's in Denver, and I'm here for it.
Okay. Very good. Before we get deeper into this stuff, Kayla.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
As always, welcome back.
Yes, every week.
Every time. We're always glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Doug, you haven't said anything yet. Do you want to say something?
No, man.
I'm
sure
good. I just included. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving time. We're going around the table.
I've talked a lot today before this podcast started, so I love listening right now.
Very good. Kayla, what do you got today for us?
Today
Tell us
I
a little bit about
have a fun little game, kind of. I made the name Brainbusters.
Oh,
since you guys
Brainbusters, brought to you by Cabo Bob's, the sponsor of this podcast.
Yes.
Fuel for the journey, it says on this cup, which is kind of what we're talking about, but fueling your brain. We'll talk about whether Cabo Bob's fits under that category. So, Brainbusters brought to you by Cabo San Lucas Roberts. Kayla, let's hear it.
Let's go, Kayla.
Okay.
Get control of this podcast, Kayla.
I don't know. You guys can chime in if you want, but you can just, you guys will see.
Seems like you don't want us to play. These two playing?
Well, you guys can still say stuff. Okay.
I want to.
It's a race. Whoever knows the
I don't even know what we're
I haven't said anything
I could be a complete liability to the team. I'm guessing.
It's a true or false game, okay?
Okay.
And they're like kind of brain related or just like some type of thing. So you got to let me know if you think this is true or false.
Okay.
So the human brain is about 75% water.
True.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I was going to say it's like 60, it's like 76%, but
Yeah.
It depends. What time of day.
Depends on how hydrated you are.
You can't actually multitask. Your brain just switches rapidly between tasks.
True.
I can't multitask.
When people think
At
that
all.
they can, I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
No. I can't.
I can text and drive? Wait a second. For all of our listeners doing that right now, as you are also listening to the Afterthoughts
shame.
podcast, stop.
Don't.
Stop. And thank you for listening, but also watch on YouTube when you're not driving.
When you're not driving.
Wow.
Okay. Humans only use about 10% of their brain.
This is always an interesting one.
I actually
only use 10%
disagree.
of our
Yeah,
hearts.
I completely disagree.
Yeah, I don't know the number or percent, but it says false.
Are we 3 for 3 so far?
That's what,
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
Neurospecialists?
I would hope so.
Okay.
Not right. Can
Okay,
you imagine?
now-
Angie,
if we were-
Angie just
if
put a
we
bunch
were
of
0
glue
for
on my
3, you'd be
head
like,
and told me,
well, we're no longer be doing this podcast.
I think people miss you quoting Wedding Crashers also.
yes, I said,
yeah.
I think we only use 10% of our hearts.
Oh.
It's from Wedding Crashers.
Okay, here's like
Best comedy
a
ever.
not so. This one's
Challenge
just like
me
a
on that in
world
the
record
comments.
one, so everybody has a. This one's
won't.
fair game. The longest time someone stayed awake is 11 days. True or false?
I actually think that is true.
Everybody else?
Ethan, was that you editing?
Wow.
That was
11
me.
days.
It might have actually, if it's not true, it was because it was a little bit longer and it was a young guy who, I'm forgetting his name. I read this study recently
Whoa.
that he did that and he started to hallucinate around, I want to say it was like day 5 or something.
So it's by
Right?
choice.
The guy,
It's true. His name's Randy Gardner.
Was this the guy?
yes.
You're so
Randy.
well
11
read.
days, yeah.
Angie's well read.
So he
always.
just decided to do that.
Yeah,
To
I
see
don't
what would
have the
happen.
story,
Sounds
but
like a
yeah.
bad idea.
And
Sounds
didn't it do like
Stupid.
That's torture.
damage?
It was awful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very awful, but he wanted to set the record and he was in more of a controlled environment whilst he was doing it, but had some really severe kickback on the
How
back.
you can stay awake. It's
How
like
many-
you literally
how many days was it?
11.
It was 11.
He
Yeah.
was 17 years old.
Oh,
that
no.
buddy.
Oh, my
that's
gosh.
shaved off some
I
years,
know.
man. Right?
How long ago did he do that?
1964.
I was
Oh,
going
wow.
to say, yeah,
So he's-
it's not recent.
Yeah.
Also,
living.
probably
Is he
because
still
people
alive?
saw that and were
Randy,
like, why would you
Randy's
want to
still alive,
break that
and if he is,
record?
we'd love to have him on the show.
I'll break it. I'm going to break it, guys.
Randy-
Yeah, I'd
do
really
it.
love to do your
Yeah.
brain math.
Do not do that.
Also.
Don't do it.
As your
Also, of
friend
course, it
and
was
fellow
somebody. It was a
podcaster.
dude
like
at
God's calling you
17.
to.
You know what I mean? Like no 45-year-old dude's like, you know what I want to do? Stay awake for 11 days just to see. Like, let's see what
That's true.
happens.
Oh,
But Doug's not
so
45.
terrible.
A 17-year-old though is like good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. The biggest brain ever recorded weighed 7 pounds. True or false?
False.
That was actually the weight of Will Smith's organs that he was going to donate through death by a jellyfish. Sorry to spoiler.
Human brain, just to clarify,
Yeah, human or I don't know.
How
I
much do
would
you think a
assume.
blue whale's brain weighs?
27 pounds. No, more than that.
That'd be a big brain.
Yeah.
I'm
How
going to
much
say
does
true.
the average brain weigh?
I'm
It
saying
says
true.
3 for the average.
3. So mine's probably 2. Not bad.
They've looked at it, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, so there's no waves, no activity here.
So,
What's going on?
so you failed the brain
You
map.
said
you
false,
can't
right?
do, but you did.
It is false. Yeah, this says the largest one recorded is 5 pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
Kayla, I just want to say I'm understanding now why you said Doug and I could answer.
Yeah.
Because you knew we wouldn't know any of these.
I was thinking more of like a
Wisdom.
giant, right?
Smart.
Someone who's actually like diagnosably a giant. I'm like, obviously they're larger, like, but
Under
okay,
the
so
giant?
5 is.
Yeah.
He probably had a
I know, right? I was
7-pound brain.
thinking
Yeah.
that's literally where my mind. Okay, 7's aggressive.
Okay, we'll do 2
The
more.
descendants of Goliath.
The brain has no pain receptors. It can't feel pain directly.
True.
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
perceived. It's a perceived pathway. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
to put it simply, that's what I mean. There's
Ditto.
more to it, but that's how I would.
Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people
So I
are
don't really
wondering
have
this
headaches.
one is
Yeah, it's a
okay.
myth.
The last one. You can tell if someone's lying by watching which direction their eyes move.
True.
Ooh.
There's actually a lot of ways that you can tell if someone's lying. I would say that, I mean, eye movement would be one way.
This one says false, but maybe you guys can like say why you think it's true.
I thought there was studies where they measured people's heart rates, skin
That's what I'm saying.
temperature, and eyes.
It's
where they
true
were
because
directly
it can be
related.
one indicator, but there's a lot of different
Right,
indicators.
that's
yeah.
fair.
We need to
Okay.
go.
So it feels like a
study.
trick
We need to go
question.
study.
Yeah. Feels like a trick question.
Has
You
Ethan
guys
told any
did
lies so
even
far in this
great.
Can I
podcast?
even? No.
Wait a second.
can I even trust my brain map if there's controversy over the last question?
Yeah.
Kayla, ask me a football question just so I can have contributed to the game.
Who won the last Broncos game?
Well, it depends on when this episode comes out.
That's so true. Well, you can predict the
Say
future.
Broncos, but it's probably Chiefs. Okay.
Thank
you, everyone, for joining us for a little round of Brain Busters brought to you by Cabo Bob's. Good job, Kayla. That was nice.
Thanks, Kayla.
That was fun.
You guys did great.
Okay. So when someone else had developed neurofeedback and all that, and you experienced it and then decided, I'm going to take this to other people. Give us a little more of the origin of this whole neurofeedback movement. I know you talked a little bit about it, but.
So I think a lot of people think that neurofeedback is like brand new cutting edge science, but really it's just operant conditioning. More people are familiar with classical conditioning, think like Pavlov's dog, right? So we can create learned behaviors to everything: walking, talking, eating, riding, bike, driving, car. So all we're doing, right, is taking that philosophy of learned behaviorism, if you will, and, translating that into brainwave activity. So yeah, I mean, neurofeedback was founded more so in like the 40s when they're measuring brainwaves of cats. That was really where it founded. Fast forward many, many years, they started to realize, okay, different parts of the brain, different Brodmann areas, different regions of the brain create different functions, systems, feelings, symptoms, you name it. And then QEEG brain mapping came out where you actually were able to look at patterns. So that was farther on in the future. And then I think really more people have just started to learn about it as an therapy modality for mental health. But yeah, it's not really that cutting edge. I definitely didn't create it. And
we've been asked many times though how we created it, and I'm like, I hope we seem that smart.
Just take credit for it. I would have believed. You could have told me today. I would have totally believed.
Created classical conditioning.
I mean, this weekend it was like, how'd you create this? I'm like, well, just on
Came to me in a dream.
Just
It
on
would be hard
on
to
a
explain
Tuesday
to someone
night.
like you, but cartographers of the brain, just how they mapped out the world back in the day.
Exactly.
Just thrown in.
Isn't that the term for map makers?
It is. It just was so funny.
You should say that. I'm a brain cartographer.
Oh, man.
that's actually good.
I know.
I was a
Feel free.
sandwich artist when
Take
I
it,
worked at
guys.
Subway for 3 years.
Yes.
Y'all are brain cartographers.
That's good.
Cartographers.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
What was your rating of Angie's episode of the podcast? Did you think she represented well?
Ask her if she's listened to it.
Oh, dang. I wasn't gonna lie. I wasn't gonna be like, I haven't yet.
Not in this place.
Okay.
Maybe later.
No, I'm sorry.
That makes sense, though, that you're
You're
still
too busy updating neurofeedback.
Yeah,
We're too busy
focusing
saving
on
lives.
drawing
Yeah.
maps. It's time
being a
consuming.
cartographer.
Yeah, cartographizing.
I do know, like, I got Angie's back. She crushes.
She did. It was a great
podcasts.
episode.
She's way more.
She
She's
didn't
way
have
more
to
funny
listen,
than I am.
you know.
She already knew. Yeah, totally. That's why I don't listen to his sermons. I'm like, I already know this stuff.
Good.
I already know
I've
this is
heard
going to
him
be
say it.
hilarious.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be pretty good.
that's the best compliment I could get after a message. But yeah,
pretty much.
Dude, that was so. Ross outside today told me, dude, that was so funny. And that's all.
That's all I needed.
I said, that's what. Thank you, man.
How did,
Yeah, totally
how
my
did
goal,
you
but
rate?
It was awesome. I learned a lot. Okay, I came into this whole thing, like I said, with no idea about much of this.
Skepticism.
Other than Doug was like, yeah, I just watch YouTube golf and it's fixing my brain. It's like,
Sounds like
Yeah.
I
snake
told
oil.
you that, man.
No,
But
dude, I
then-
swear, dude.
She called me
next-
and fixed my internet over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately my bank account's empty, but so I learned a lot. Next thing I know, I'm sitting downstairs and Angie has glued this thing to my head and I have the hardest time not moving my eyes while my eyes are closed. It was really tough for me.
I was extremely convincing. Everybody ended up doing a brain map.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I was still doing that. Like, what can she know? So then she also had Steph, my wife, do some brain cartography. And we had our meeting where she looks at our scans. And I wouldn't say I was skeptical. I'm just like, what is that? How can this possibly know all this stuff? Everything she said, Steph and I are looking at it, like laughing, like, well, that's true. Well, that's true. She at one point she goes, Ethan, maybe not a lot of empathy.
Steph started cracking up. I was like, do you struggle with empathy? She starts dying.
She's like, that's the greatest thing you could have ever said to my husband in
We
front
had a
of
little
me.
moment.
Thank
How
you.
much they
Like
did
2 weeks,
T-Sex.
2 weeks ago, had a little bit of a, not fight, but she was not thrilled. And she said,
A bit
she
kerfuffle.
said in that conversation, "You're the least empathetic person in my life." And I was like, well, apparently my brain said that too. So that's good. But
you're
now
a victim of your brain, dude. It's not your
mine.
fault.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
What can I do?
what'd you think of his brain?
It was actually exactly what I thought. You remember on the episode I said, I know you have fast wave activity. And you're like, well, I'm not anxious. I was like, fast wave activity doesn't necessarily mean anxiety, right? It just means faster processing speed. Brain moves a little bit more quickly. And sometimes when you're a little bit faster, when you talk to people who are not as fast, I'm not going to say people who are slower, but not as fast, it can be kind of annoying, right? You can get actually a little frustrated with people because they're not moving as fast as you're moving. And then people can experience you as less present, less empathetic.
irritable,
Yeah, all these different things.
Patience is a struggle for me. I literally have noticed ever since that I'll be walking with one of my sons and then I just I'm 5 steps ahead of him because I'm just like, come on, hurry up.
You sound like my
Subconsciously.
husband.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
No, that
Is
makes
he
sense.
awesome or?
No, of course, yeah.
Cool.
He's the best.
He sounds hilarious.
He sometimes, I sometimes have to be like,
sounds
hey,
really
I have long
spectacular.
legs. I walk fast. Like, I need you to
Yeah, let's
back.
go. Did you say was beta my
Yes, beta
Beta
on
on
the
the
singular. But
obviously.
She knew.
on the singular for those of us that
Beta.
Yeah.
He does
That's
also
an area
he
on
has
the
some
middle of
high
the
beta,
head.
but the driver of your brain is beta. Like
which was a good thing.
it is a good thing. Absolutely. No, it's a great thing. It's like there's no
I think
bad
Doug
brains or
wants
good
more
brains.
beta, right? So
Doug-
he might.
Yeah.
Either way.
You guys need to
Do a quick compare and contrast here between our brains. So he's
you
high
don't wanna do that,
beta.
man.
Is that what you said?
Rachel, do a little compare contrast.
So both of you all have a fast processing speed. So think of that as your engine capability. So not to give them all this clout, right?
This is a shock to our
They're
listeners.
smart, right?
Doug, what's your favorite thing I ever said about your brain? Fire
You
it
said
up
I
right
have
now.
a Ferrari brain.
That's right.
Yeah.
So smart,
And
right?
I've quoted you to Sam, my wife, so many times. Yep.
Engine
Tattoo that
very
on your face.
fast.
Yeah.
Engine very capable, intellectually so solid. That's also a good marker for future longevity, right? Like good memory, less likely to have Alzheimer's, dementia, all that type of stuff, which is great. But then, right, can get caught in thought loops, can think worst case scenarios that we talked about today, or you talked about today on stage. So you can get really caught on just catastrophizing and stuff like that. On edge, irritable, what have you. Both of you guys have a little bit of that, but there's good things and blind spots to everything. For you, it sounds like if you have more beta and high beta, your quick engine likes to go 90 to 150 miles per hour on the reg, right? So moving a little bit quicker. He can shift down
That's
more
why you love
into
the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh yeah.
he likes to downshift more, at least for right now, into this theta state, which is then why I'm sure you like stimulants or coffee or things to kind of energize you to upshift you
Yes.
back into that beta state. So when we're joking around, you give him some of that, maybe he gives you some of his theta, and then we would create two completely perfect brains.
You're the perfect person together. only together.
That's
together.
That's
You
why we
create a really great person.
why we planted one church as a team.
But there's
Together
no-
we
With three
come together to make
pastors.
one adequate pastor. 3 people, 1 pastor. And that's fine.
Powers combined.
All we can do is our part.
What we
until-
always say
yeah.
though, people ask us well, what's the norm? What's the goal? There is no perfect brain, right? There's no perfect people. The only perfect person is literally Jesus, which is so great. We are also imperfect. However, what we look at is neuroadaptability and flexibility, right? Can his brain shift just as quick as your brain does back to neutral, back to homeostasis, and then upshift? It's all about plasticity and adaptability. It doesn't necessarily matter what someone has more or less than of. So that's really where the money's made, is plasticity.
Which means for somebody listening who feels right now that they are stuck with the brain they currently have, what would you say to them?
Brains are always willing to change. They're always neuroplastic. And the Lord gave us this beautiful ability to ultimately learn. Think about what you do foundationally out of the womb. Learn. You have to learn how to walk. You have to learn a whole entire language. You have to learn how to interact with society. Everything is learning. And then as we get older, we do kind of stop learning along the way, right? And so we stop flexing this level of neuroplasticity. But our brains literally always can change and learn. We sometimes just have to give it that extra catalyst in which to do so, or that extra challenge. And that's, what we love. 100%. Neurofeedback.
So there's a lot of authority, you saying that, coming from somebody who does what you do, but also somebody who was diagnosed with bipolar. And do you have any of those symptoms?
I mean, maybe a little crazy sometimes. Still like to take a
don't
lot
we
of
all?
risks.
Rachel's
You know,
if you experienced her driving her car, you might be like, no,
You sound awesome.
Okay.
she'd like to go a little fast.
you sound
She'd like to
Sound
go a
like
little
an
fast.
awesome guy, Rachel's husband. Is she ever crazy? He said no. He said
Great.
she's cool as the other side of the pillow.
This is what I will say. Like, we all can shift. So let's say I have a really bad day, right? Owning a business, like having life stressors, like stress is inevitable.
Yeah.
Truly, I feel like what is resiliency? How quickly you come back to baseline. And I do believe that even on a stressful moment or a stressful day, resetting, my ability to reset is pretty substantial. There was no resetting as my 16-year-old self. That was absolutely not even an ability that I had at all.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean,
How did
maybe
your
I'm
parents
still a little
find that?
wild.
How did they know about it?
My mom randomly heard about it from somebody in Dallas. Same thing. Like, it was just heard about it through somebody.
Wow.
So shout out Loretta Ragsdale.
Loretta
Her
Ragsdale.
and Carolyn Noack, Angie's mom, crunchy before it was cool to be crunchy. Like those ladies, like back in the day, like all these crunchy moms, I'm like, they're the OG crunchy moms, right? Like
that's great.
no dyes before, like probably there were even dyes to have. So Loretta was always looking for more natural forms of healing.
Yeah.
Shout out.
that was a different kind of grit to be that back then.
Oh man, like
For sure.
there was no Google. There was no, like, you were like calling other moms, like just collect to find all the options.
Oh, and listen,
Like,
here's another, like,
straight
back
up.
to Billy Graham side of things. This is interesting reflection. I did not grow up with much money, anything like that. And so my mom, like, neurofeedback, especially back in the day when less people knew about it, we went to a pretty expensive place. There wasn't like a lot of places doing it. And so she had to go to her dad, Charlie Riggs, Billy Graham's right-hand dude, and was like, can you help support my daughter? So like, he was part of the reason that I was even able to have that opportunity at that time, which is so cool.
Kingdom work right there.
Let's go,
Crunchy
Charlie.
moms.
Right?
My mom also crunchy.
That's what's up.
She's a naturopath. And
Oh,
people would be at her
yeah.
house and she'd be like looking in their eyeball, like, you broke
Yes.
your leg at some point? I was like, Mom, what are we doing here? We had a cabinet of herbs.
Yep.
Many of those probably not approved by the FDA, but you'd be sick. She's like, here's some ginkgo biloba and some grapefruit seed extract. Just before school every day, we took a shot of flaxseed oil and liquid minerals that is a taste from hell, but fairly healthy.
That was my mom.
go, Andy.
Just like brewing potions in
Yeah,
the kitchen.
you're
She was
like,
like, take this. We were like, okay.
I'm pretty sure this is not witchcraft. It seems all good.
We maybe need antibiotics.
She
She
prayed
was like,
over
you'll
it.
never take those.
Right.
Strong Christian lady. So
This is why you're so smart, yet lack the empathy. It was the ginkgo.
right. Thank you.
Obviously.
You don't need empathy, man. Don't
Way
worry about
vindicated
it.
by
Yeah.
a dashboard confessional right now in the soundtrack of the house.
Ginkgo biloba.
That's a real thing. I'm telling you, I've
I
had the
know.
wildest.
It was the gink.
I've had the wildest natural
The
herbs
gink.
and stuff in my life, but stuff works.
Okay, so when you graduated, you decided to start a neurofeedback company instead of go work for a neurofeedback company. Why?
So I actually begged, because as you guys might have learned if you listened to last podcast, you need to go listen to last podcast, but I am really good at stalking people. And then part of maybe my bipolar is I don't take no for an answer. So I was trying to get an internship while I was in seminary, and I wanted to specifically get an internship at a neurofeedback clinic. And seminary was like, no, you can't do that, only counseling. And I was like, well, I'm going to incorporate counseling with neurofeedback. And so I had to end up doing 2 internships. Nice. But I ended up finding a neurofeedback practitioner who, it was like the most crazy interview ever. She literally was like, I can meet with you for 2 minutes this day at like 11:05. I was like, okay, I'll be there. And she comes in and
I'll
she's
be
like,
behind a
I
dumpster
can
with a hood on.
literally, she's like, I can
my
teach you
God.
this, but I'm really intense. I like no BS, and it is what it is. Like, this is how you're going to work with me. So I was like, I'll take whatever I can get. Because I had literally knocked on there was maybe 10 people in Denver doing it, and everyone's like, no internship, nothing. I have no time for you. So I was like, that's a bummer. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll take whatever I can get. So I'm actually super grateful for her influence on my life. She is probably one of the smartest people in the field of neurofeedback ever that I got absolutely poured into. And yeah, like really what happened is because my gift is education and spreading the word of mental health to other people, I like kind of blew up her business under her. So I'm so happy she sat me down one day and said, Rachel, truly, like, you don't need me anymore. I love you, but I'm going to push you out of the eagle's nest. Like, it's your time to soar. And then I had to figure out how to run a business. So,
let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of business entrepreneur types in our community that would be inspired by your story, I'm sure. What did that look like for you to branch out and go, I'm going to start my own thing in a space that a lot of people don't know about or have maybe some wrong opinions about? What was that like? How did you do it?
Yeah. I sometimes look back, I'm like, I don't know how I did it. Truly just grit, unapologetic tenacity, like literally just figuring out a way when there was no way, faith, like absolute faith in my calling and faith in my purpose, like that is unwavering. Looking back and seeing how the Lord has been so faithful in every single situation that should have thrown me a curveball or taken me down. Thankful for obviously meeting Angie, and there's no way like the enjoyment of what we do would be nearly as easy if you don't have somebody sitting next to you that is as like completely rooted in the mission as you are. So shout out to Ange. But yeah, I mean,
way to go, Angie.
Yeah, I think truly just
it's basically all me. I'm just I'm literally kidding the most in the whole world. Yeah.
There's three things.
His takeaway was Angie.
Three things. Number one, faith, and just truly, if you believe that you're operating in authority with your greatest purpose, then I think honestly, like you can accomplish anything. The second thing, like not taking no for an answer. I am pretty crazy about that. Like
Rachel hears no as just not today. Like,
and I think any business owner, it's the same thing. So like any business owner, no is truly just okay, then how can we make it work type of thing.
How can we make that no a yes?
Yeah. And then, like I guess delegation. I do think a lot of people, at least in the mental wellness space or just like founders, you get caught in that founder's trap, right? Where, well, I'm the only neurofeedback therapist and I'm the best of the best, so no one can do it as good as me. And, you just have to push that aside and trust and pour into other people to spread the spiderweb effect, if you will. And I do believe that I do that well, and that's made it all possible. But now it's possible because of the people that allow me to grow. So those are maybe the top three things.
What's interesting too is, and I was just thinking this kind of a full circle moment when you were saying like you knocked on how many doors and heard no intern, like when people are like, why is the field not bigger? That so many people were like, we will not teach you, we will not show you. Let me tell you how many people Rachel has trained to do neurofeedback, and like how many, if there, let's say there's 20 neurofeedback, businesses in Denver, 10 of them have gone through Braincode Centers and were like trained underneath Rachel. So I do feel like you have such an incredible passion and purpose of like raising, like you'll hear her say this any day of the week, that when people ask us like, who are your biggest competitors? She's like, nobody. That it is all ships rise. Not even enough people know what we do. She literally said at the founders event that we just spoke to, she goes, start a business, I'll support you. Like everybody rise together and let's change the world. So it's so interesting that the way in which you started, it was like knocking on doors, being told no. And when people knock on our door, she's like, we'll always say yes.
That's awesome. It's like the church.
Oh man.
Like what competition? There's no competition. All boats rise at high tide.
Not even a
when you
question.
win, we win. When we win, you win. It's the kingdom of God wins. And we need more churches in the same kind of way.
Yeah.
Like you believe in this because it's changed your life.
And that's probably not a normal like founder mentality, but that is 100% her mentality.
That's awesome.
So how did you guys meet?
I like a pizza shop.
You said you didn't eat pizza. Oh my gosh.
This was like 10 years ago, man. I'd love to smash a pizza. Don't I?
You do. Yes.
So I was in my master's program, and I had a professor, and I'm going through like a regular crisis that I think probably most people go through, maybe just me, in their master's, where I was like, do I even want to do this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm in counseling and I also probably struggle a little bit with empathy. Don't even worry about that.
Nice.
And I'm like listening to people's problems going, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
Fist pump for the no empathy.
Yeah.
And I just was kind of going through a crisis. And one of my professors was like, hey, I know you're he knew about my story and my brain injury. And he was like, I know you're more neuro-based. I met this girl who's doing this neurofeedback thing. And it was a clinician who was working underneath Rachel. And so she met me and she was like, I think you need to meet Rachel, and introduced us. And I actually, a guy last night asked me when he had talked to Rachel and then he talked to me and he goes, are you two twin flames? And I was like, that is correct. And so if you don't know what two twin flames are, it's like when you just meet somebody who you connect with on that like spiritual level. And when Rachel and I met, it was kind of like, wait, should we be besties? And that was many years ago. And we just started kind of hanging out slowly, that she was running a clinic. I was running a clinic. We had zero free time. She had a kid. I was just busy. And, and then we, I think one day she, finally kind of pinned me down and was like, let's go get dinner and spend some time personally together, not just business. And that was it. It was game over.
Have you seen Step Brothers?
We have a lot of activities together.
Lots of room for activities. Did we just become best friends?
We did.
Yeah.
And we didn't, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question we get asked a lot. How do you have success in business while you're also friends?
Oh, it's like my favorite question.
It's a great question.
I am like, and you guys probably feel like this too. We sit sometimes and we're so grateful because I know how unique what we have is, right? Like we believe so inherently that we have each other's back and that we are operating like cohesively with our mission, with everything. So Angie and I can have the hardest conversations, be so like tough as far as what we need to like work on. Yeah. And we can just switch on and off so well. Like it's incredible. And then go have the best time ever. So I think it's just like rooted in deep amounts of trust and faith and all that. But
we're both 3 Enneagrams, which talked a little bit last time. We're also not very sensitive. Like we can give a lot of feedback. We can have hard conversations and nobody's getting super butthurt about it or, that just doesn't exist within our friendship. There's also a certain level of trust that has to come with that Rachel is wise counsel to me. I am wise counsel to her. So if she's giving me feedback, that's a stand up and listen. When, random homies send, emails in like giving feedback, you're like, and thanks for the like, I don't know if you don't have my back. That's not the same thing.
Right.
When Rachel gives feedback, I listen. When I give feedback, she listens. And
how do you two do it?
It's painful.
Sorry.
Well, I think the similar thing that we all have is a unified vision and mission, right? Like
Absolutely.
There's a bigger purpose to our friendship. And it kind of started that way. And we found our faith right around the same time together. And then the mission became, I guess, according to the Bible, we're supposed to just go help everybody else find Jesus. So let's go do that together. And I'd say the same thing for you, where you have this bigger purpose to what you're doing. And we always say, like, the Bible says without vision, people perish. And I think that's true of marriages. That's true of friendships. That's true of even businesses. At some point, you kind of lose sight of why you're doing what you do, and it becomes about the wrong things. And then you turn inwardly, get selfish, get prideful, and it breaks apart those friendships. But I think for us, it's just been like coming back to another weekend of church and seeing people put their faith in Jesus and like, this is why we do this. Yeah. And we get to have a lot of fun as friends along the way.
We've eaten a lot of humble pie together.
Oh, man.
We've had a lot of that seed of pride, which we all have, and we certainly still have, but a lot of that was beaten out of us together at the same time. I think choosing people and purpose, I'm a preacher, so I'm using an alliteration right now, but it's just natural.
We want it.
You know what I mean?
We like it.
But over like paycheck and over position, and can you get out of your own way when it comes to certain things? And I think we always said we're going to move to Austin and start this church, and I will always pick my people over the church, no matter how big or if it becomes successful or whatever it is. I remember when I was in high school, there was this Switchfoot DVD where they did a live concert in San Diego, and John Foreman, the front man for Switchfoot, he was being interviewed after, and he said, one day the band Switchfoot will break up, and it'll be a bittersweet day, and all of us are going to be at the beach the next day with our families, surfing and hanging out and telling stories about the way things used to be. And right now we get to build this church together. And however long God, lets us do that and has that for us, like that is awesome. And then one day we'll be hanging out, talking about the way things used to be and telling stories, but because we choose people and each other over position, over, whatever it is, even that we're building right now. And so I think that gets honored by God when you do that. And there's certain things I just believe God really likes where he goes, I'll bless that. I can bless that mindset. I can bless that way of thinking. When you, like something about grit, when you just don't take no for an answer and you're like, I'll keep coming back. I'll keep knocking on doors. There's a whole parable that Jesus tells about like the persistent widow or that keeps knocking on the judge's door, and eventually he just gets so annoyed that he gives her what she wants. And Jesus told that story and he said, be like that with me. There's things that he just honors and things that he blesses. And certain things that like you can't always control when blessing, like when God turns on the blessing faucet, but you can control if you're beneath it when he does by certain, principles and values that you have. And so when you meet somebody who also has those, it's special. So
yeah, over time, then also I think it just helps you to not see someone else's success as a threat against you. It's like we're on the same team here. So if you
which
win,
we used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we were competitive in nature, but eventually it's like if we're building the kingdom of God and you have a win, then that's a win for the kingdom of God, then that's a win for me, not a loss.
Yeah.
And I imagine you operate the same way, where you're on a bigger mission where you're doing it for the sake of the people you're helping. So a win for anybody is a win for everybody, right?
I think that's something that we do really, really well is celebrating each other's wins. Huge. Now, if we get a win together and we get to go do stuff together, that's the freaking tippity tops. We love that.
Even better.
But when we're separate and because we have to divide and conquer a lot of things, it is also very cool to then come back together and celebrate each other.
That's cool. I think I would rather even lose on a team that I love than win by myself.
No question. No question.
Okay, shifting gears.
Okay.
One of the reasons that we're have been excited to have you all on the podcast is so many meetings we have as pastors are people dealing with really tough stuff in their lives. Could be anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, loss, pain, trauma, all these different things. And we're always looking for ways to help people. And obviously we pray with them and we bring them first to Jesus and know that he's a healer and he's going to work in those spaces, but he's also given us graces on earth of ways that we can heal. And I think we're really passionate about helping people get healthy and live healthy lives. And when Jesus says life abundant and the renewing of the mind and things like that, that is through prayer, but it's also through more natural things like what you all do. In case anyone's wondering, like, why are the Afterthoughts podcast? Why are they talking about neurofeedback and stuff? Because I think there's a really cool intersection that you shared a lot about of how God designed us and us neglecting the brain that he gave us, the most amazing thing in the whole universe, really, the human brain. And you're helping people to make that healthy. But I imagine that comes with some stigma from Christians because it's maybe a less known or newer thing in some people's minds. And in a weird way, if it's not like the stereotypical path to medicine or whatever, people are like, oh, you're some woo-woo, weird new agers or whatever. What has that been like in the Christian world? Because I know your faith in Jesus is the root of everything you're doing. That's right. But people probably misperceive that. What's that stigma that you get?
Yeah, it makes me think about a pastor that had reached out. My dad is actually still a marriage and family therapist, and then I'm a licensed therapist. And it's cool because he works with, as used to being a pastor, he actually works with a ton of pastors that are in the pretty critical situations or they're dealing with a lot of burnout and stuff like that. And so there was a gentleman that he referred over and just said, like, this guy really, it's not just a counseling intensive for a week. Like, his brain is, on fire and in a pretty bad place. And the question that he asked me is like, I don't, like, the Lord should have healed this already. I've been praying about this. I'm diligent about it. And, it's too sciencey for me. I don't really understand why we have to use like a scientific intervention. And I think there is a unknown when it comes to brain health because the way we utilize neurofeedback is with hardware and wires and caps. And like you were saying, like Angie glued a gel thing to my head. Like if I'm listening, I'm like, that sounds weird. Like I don't want to do that. Right. But all we're looking at is what's happening on the inside, right? It's not weird for a pregnant woman to go get an ultrasound. You're checking on the health of the baby.
Yeah.
You're measuring the heart rate of the baby. All we're doing is reading what's going on the inside with sensors. So there's nothing happening to the brain. All we're doing is looking at the organ that's inside. And that organ tells us a story. It's like a tapestry of your life, right? You can see if someone's had concussions or trauma or struggles with ADHD. So when I just really like educated, right? It's just a lack of education and softening it where it's not creepy wires and stuff like that. But I do think when it comes to the religious sector, if you will, that would really be where I just want more people to understand that sometimes you can go do more cutting edge things that seem new agey, if you will, or just go learn about it, right? Because it's not always as invasive as you might think. And there's a lot of different technologies on the market now, like TMS is the new big thing. If you haven't heard of TMS, transmagnetic stimulation, it's this big, huge thing that goes on your head and it actually puts magnetic stim into the brain. I won't get on a tangent on that. And I think it can actually be a great modality, but we get kind of bucketed into that same field, right?
Yeah.
Like MRI, like shock, ECT, like people think we're doing
back to
ECT.
Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type.
Electroconvulsive shock therapy. Like that is truly what people think that we do. All we're doing is teaching the brain what it knows how to do best is learn, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that.
Yeah, it's not like Angie
helps,
was like, take this pill and I'm going to do an incantation over you while I do
I
this
thought
thing.
about it, but I held back on that.
She did shock my head a few times. So, and you said you don't do that normally?
Steph told me you need a little empathy.
So, but there are some resistance
For sure.
in the Christian world. So will you talk for a second about like the intersection of your faith with neurotherapy and how you see these things beautifully partnered together?
You know, so today, if you guys didn't listen to the last sermon on Kiss the Fire that Doug just gave, which was incredible, you showed this picture of the galaxy and then you panned into the world. And then my mind took it for a second to, pan into Austin, Texas right now, and then pan into the church location, and then to pan into the room where you're sitting next to other people. And then you pan into the brain. And like, I just had this whole like thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, the brain in and of itself is the craziest, most complex organ. Like little tiny neurotransmitters that you can only see under a microscope are happening right now in everybody's brain. Like even listening to Doug right now, there is changes happening in people's brains. So I had this moment, like I was about to cry.
Next time.
And
I'll probably I was going to do that. So I'll do that for Kingdom Builders.
And so it just made me think, like, I'm so freaking grateful that I have the chance, like, that we actually, through technology and therapies, can, like, change and optimize how these little neurotransmitters are firing and wiring together. Like, that is the coolest thing ever. And so there's never been a day that I mean, when I used to actually see patients in clinic, the cool thing about neurofeedback is, unlike talk therapy, where you're just, it'd be really weird if you're like touching your client or something like that. You get to like place your hands on people's, in a way, like I'm putting electrodes on people's heads. And so I always thought that was so cool because I could like, pray over my clients right there. And yeah, so I've just always seen, literally when I'm placing the electrodes on people's heads or people are putting on the headband, it is literally just a catalyst where God can do what he does best, right? Is create change. So I've never had any sort of disruption in that. It's always been like this beautiful synergy that I've felt.
We mentioned, in the last podcast, it's like going to the gym for your brain.
Yeah.
Neurofeedback. And then we mentioned the word stewardship. It's kind of stewardship of the body, which includes your brain that God has given you, that he calls like a temple of the Holy Spirit. Your spirit shows up in your body.
Yeah.
Like your body is the vehicle that your spirit shows up into the world, and your brain is the vehicle that your mind shows up to your family, to your friends, to your job, to everything. And so in the same way, we're called to steward our bodies as temples of the Holy Spirit. Like that includes your brain. I remember one thing I didn't say in the last episode that I didn't remember until right after. Daniel Amen, the brain guy, I love that guy.
Yeah.
But I remember he says, like the world of counseling, of talk therapy, this is the only sector of medicine, if you will, where we don't look at the organ we're treating.
We don't measure it.
We don't measure it.
Yeah.
You go to a cardiologist, they're going to look at your heart, right? You're going to look at every other organ, but we don't look at the brain, and we can. And it's crazy the amount of information it can give you.
Yes.
And that your brain, sort of the hardware, your mind being the software, correct?
That's right.
And it's really, really hard to work on just the software if you're not upgrading the hardware and stewarding and taking care of that. It's like, man, if you can start taking care of the actual hardware that is your brain, you know how much easier it is to see healthy change when you go do talk therapy and you go try to rewire your brain or attack anxiety or battle this or whatever it is when your brain is healthy because you've been going to the brain gym. Like stewardship, that's the word that keeps coming to mind for me, because it was God's idea. And he gave it to us to take care of and to use as the vehicle that we show up to our callings in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy when Angie was talking us through our scans. She's like, it seems like you have some sort of like neck tension or pain type thing. And I was like, I've had a pinched nerve in my neck since I was in high school that flares up randomly. And sometimes I'll wake up and I can tell like but the craziest thing was talking about Steph, my wife, who is, we've always joked about, like nearly narcoleptic. Like she could fall asleep pretty much anywhere. She loves sleeping. She says in heaven, she's just going to sleep all the time because she loves it so much, but she's tired all the time. And you're like, before she said any of that, you're like, I would guess that you sleep a ton, but you don't actually feel like you did. Like you don't get good sleep.
Never rested.
And could see that from her scans, which is so true. It was a lot of insightful things. So as someone who came into this with really no idea of it, sitting there, having you talk through it was amazing. Now I want to talk about a conspiracy I've developed.
Yes.
Since we were talking, I think it was after we cut when you were down here, because I asked you, I'm like, well, like through insurance, can people just start doing this with you guys? And you're like, not really. And we got into this whole conversation about big pharma.
We'll go deep on some big pharma.
But here's the conspiracy that maybe it's not a conspiracy, but it would seem to me that a lot of insurance type companies, pharmaceutical world, would be resistant to what you're doing because you could be solving problems more quickly and getting people off of long-term medications and things that they profit a lot from. How do we feel about what I just said?
Oh man, how deep down the... I mean, yes, like at the end of the day, the pharmaceutical industry is $1 billion industry. Neurofeedback, like no one even knows what neurofeedback is yet. So are we like an imminent threat to big pharma? I don't even think so, honestly. Now you take that like in the masses, if people start doing it, there's going to be like a slight effect on it, maybe.
Sure.
So yes, I think that theory's out there. I also think that there is a neurofeedback code. Let me like share that. There is a neurofeedback code, but business owners don't get paid anything. So I need to like pay my staff. I want to have like a good, healthy staff. So I think what we want to do is go somewhere like lobby and educate people and help them understand like how imperative this code needs to get like reimbursed respectedly so that more people can be reached through this. And we're not having to just go raise all this money to like take care of a lot of people that cannot afford it. But yeah.
Because I would ask, like some of these issues that people are chronically dealing with, that you can rewire the brain, and now something like a bipolar disorder is no longer an issue for somebody, and they're free of that. Should be everyone's goal, but there's less profits, so to speak, if someone doesn't stay on their medication for their whole life, right?
I mean, in general, you know, what things do you consider, like on insurance, are preventative, right? Like, are we truly looking at a lot of preventative type medicine, or are we more so, and I believe our system is very good at reactive medicine, right? If I get hit by a bus today, do take me to a hospital, right? I like do that. If I'm trying to prevent X, Y, and Z degenerative or sickness or all these things, is insurance going to cover that? So in general, right, like I would say our system is far more set up to respond when something does happen rather than prevent it from happening in the first place.
Yeah.
Like sick care versus health care.
That's right.
I think I heard it said that way on a different podcast I was listening to. But
You
we're
listen
really
to other
good
podcasts? Are you kidding? Traitor.
at
Unbelievable.
It was what I said it on our podcast. It was just
That's
a different
probably what it is.
episode. Yeah.
Big pharma. Just wanted to stir that pot.
Stir it.
My
Man.
crunchy roots are coming out here, a little bit. But
We love stirring pots.
I mean, that's my journey. Is I am on a almost 20-year journey right now with chronic head pain.
Yeah.
And you guys have played a big role in that story in a very redemptive way for me. I've seen 50 doctors all over the world. I've been prescribed a lot of, and that's kind of the answer. I got burnt out on going to the doctor because I'm a biochem major. I'm a learner. I'm a bit of a nerd, and I'm the person who's going to read all the books and ask Chat GPT everything before I go in. And so maybe I'm a doctor's worst nightmare. You could say that, but I got used to going in and almost thinking, at least on this topic, I feel like I know more than you, and I know what you're going to say to me, and you're going to prescribe me some more pills. Mm-hmm. And pills can be an answer to prayer. But for me, I'm like, but it's for a season, but this is not a solution. And I was basically, the only solution I have is this, but that created addiction, and that created more symptoms and more problems that I had to figure out, some of which I'm still, trying to figure out and all of that stuff. So it's just the difference in mindset of, I do appreciate that. And thank God that we have pills for certain things.
Time and a place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. God answers prayers through that stuff all the time. I also just really, really believed, at least I'll speak subjectively for me, I'm like, but that, kind of like taking ibuprofen for, a broken arm, like that's going to help me as I also figure out how to heal this. Because there has to be a cause. Everything's connected. Like there has to be something that's causing this, and that's what I really want to try to figure out. You two have been a big, like, redemptive story for me for realizing, like, okay, I think there are ways to look, and I think there are ways to get to the bottom of this. And there's a few things I'm still trying to get to the bottom of, but I've never been more optimistic about it than I am right now. Yeah. But it's been a journey, a long journey.
One other thing too that's so fascinating, right, is if you have information, which sometimes it can be like information overload, right? You go to like so many doctors. It's like, where do I go? Who do I trust? What do I do? I also believe like there's a intuition that we have to like truly tap into. Like, how do we listen to this? Is it the ginkgo? Is it just kidding? But
ginkgo's getting a lot of shout outs on this
right?
episode. Ginkgo.
But all that to be said, the other thing that's amazing that I love about brain maps or measuring the organ that you treat, there's a lot of times that clients like we'll see maybe an autoimmune condition, or like there was a 17-year-old kid that we saw and I saw this crazy pattern. I'm like, you're about to like develop Crohn's disease or something. So I was like, let's go get some blood work. Literally like had to do a whole entire, worked with a functional medicine doctor and stuff like that. But his mom still to this day is like, if we had not like had that information to go then look more directly, I don't know what would have happened with our kid. So it's so cool that you can even see like mold exposure, hormone issues, because then you can help people help give people more resources, but through a data lens, like an actual objective lens, not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, we're like the most overly medicated country in the world, correct? Society ever. And yet it doesn't seem like our problems are getting better.
And the
Like
sickest.
And the sickest.
Yeah.
And that's why I think functional medicine and holistic healthcare and things like neurofeedback, people are more receptive to it because they're like, well, we've been trying all this big pharma stuff and it hasn't, not that it's all bad, but it doesn't seem to be the solution for a lot of people that they're looking for. So my opinion is if they started to embrace things like what you're doing, could help a lot of people. And the goal should be to not be the sickest culture in the world, but what would I know? I'm just a guy with a ton of beta, so
and a podcast.
Singular.
And no empathy. Deal. Sponsored by Cabo Bob.
There's a book called Garden City by John Mark Comer. I don't know if you guys have heard of this book. It's one of my favorites, but it's called Garden City because he.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, guys.
It's a prayer alarm.
It is.
It's a Jesus alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
pray every day for a building for this church.
Right, we do right at this right now. Yep.
Whenever you're watching it, it's at this time.
Lord, would you give us a building in Jesus' name?
In Dallas.
Oh, wow. Maybe. You never know.
Maybe cool. I love Dallas.
And also Austin, though. We need it. We need
it. Comment below prayer hands.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Pray with us.
Or the worship hands.
Sure.
Either one.
That's fine.
It's called Garden City because the Bible starts in a garden. in Genesis, but it finishes in Revelation with the city, which implies that the Garden of Eden was never a finished product, but rather the beginnings of a project. And God placed Adam and Eve in the garden to partner with him and essentially said, all the raw materials that you'll ever need to make the rest of the world look like Eden are here. Use your imaginations and let's bring heaven to earth. And that obviously went wrong on chapter 3 of the Bible. However, so there's like two narratives at play. There is the narrative of sin, like sickness wouldn't be a thing. Death would not be a thing if sin wasn't a thing. And there's also another narrative at play though, which is that the kingdom is here and that Jesus has officially rebridged the gap between heaven and earth. That's why the crux of the Lord's Prayer is your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so work is, I forget how Tim Keller defined work, but the rearranging of the raw materials that God has given us, whether that's resources or imagination and talent, to partner with him to take the earth, to take the world somewhere and to make it look more like heaven. And I really believe that's what this is for the brain, is your kingdom come, your will be done in my brain as it is in heaven. Because in heaven, like the original design was no sickness, no mental sickness, no physical sickness, no addiction, no Alzheimer's. Like in heaven, those things, the kingdom of heaven, those things aren't a thing. So it's essentially participating in that narrative of we're garden to a city and we are making the body, we're making the brain, and one day it'll be in its fullness, right? On the new heavens with the new earth. And right now we live in the already but not yet, where the kingdom of heaven is already here but not yet in its entirety, which is why I've had people pray for me for healing and I haven't seen it happen, and yet I prayed for other people for healing and I saw it happen. It's like, well, why? Well, because the kingdom of heaven is here. That's why there was healing, but it's not yet in its entirety, which is why I'm still waiting on that. But there is a narrative at play that we essentially partner with God and through work, which is what gives, I feel like your job so much more purpose than, it's not just a paycheck. And it's not even just beautiful science of creating healthier brains and giving people hope. It's actually partnering with God to make things look more like heaven. You know what I mean? Which is a really big deal and really cool. And that's why even this conversation, why are we having this conversation on the Afterthoughts podcast? Because this is stewardship of what God has given us. Yeah. And it's the crux of the Lord's Prayer, his kingdom come in every sector of life as it is in heaven.
That's right. It's good.
Yeah.
Let's pair that with a story, a testimony of some kind. You told the story about the kid who was on his way to maybe Crohn's disease. Do you have another favorite person you encountered that there was a mess there and then you watched neurofeedback change their life? I'm sure you have a million of them, but one of your top,
could give thousands.
One of your favorites.
One of my favorites was when I first started as an intern. This little boy came in. He was about 6 years old at the time, and he had been adopted by his now mom, who was the sister of his real mom. His real mom, great woman, it seems, had been selling her sweet little 6-year-old to other men for basically child prostitution.
Jeez.
Yes. And this kid, if I could describe him, was just the cutest kid ever, handsome and so sweet, you just couldn't help but love him. But he had started to masturbate at 6 years old because all of his trauma.
Yeah.
So, his adoptive mom was bringing him into me. It was a really intense situation. And just week by week, month by month, he wasn't giving a lot of feedback. Obviously, that wasn't the story. But hearing us help sort of give this kid maybe a different foundation to then grow from through the adoptive mom, was so cool. He had stopped doing what he was doing at home, masturbating and stuff. He started thriving in school again. She just started to see him kind of come back to life. And it was just seriously such a remarkable story, especially as a young neurofeedback therapist where I didn't have a bunch of testimonies under my belt to feel super confident in. So that was a really good one. And then my second one that I'll talk about is we work with a ton of first responders. It's a huge part of the population that we work with. A gentleman, and he's like one of our besties, we can say this, a gentleman named Dan Bright came to Braincode Centers after serving as a police for like 20 plus years. He was involved in a critical incident and was just paralyzed from the waist down. So shot, paralyzed. Jeez. Mental health absolutely tanked. He had a daughter, a couple daughters, and a wife. And essentially the wife came to us and was like, we've tried everything. Like, we heard neurofeedback. Like, can we help? And Dan Bright, like, again, he wasn't suicidal anymore, wasn't depressed, felt like he was for the first time ever himself again. Like, he was refound through that process. And he was doing some other interventions as well, which I'm so thankful for. He came to us and was like, I want more first responders specifically to know that, you know, you don't just have to talk to someone, because still, like, the first responders don't want to talk to anybody, to be honest. They just want to get help. And yeah, he came to us and was like, can you come just help me educate other cops, other firefighters? So we work with so many, like SWAT, DEA, like so many amazing people that, again, are serving the kingdom, right? They are truly trying to help and protect the majority of people. And yeah, those are two stories that I'll just never forget that impacted me greatly.
That's awesome.
So I'm sure.
I was thinking about Dan too, though, that like he has now then become, literally, he goes around the country creating wellness programs for first responders and with like neurofeedback at the crux. Like, this is a man who, I mean, literally, he's so incredible. He just brings joy into every room, like comes in a wheelchair with his service dog, and will just say, like, these are the things that completely changed my life. And obviously first responders want to hear from other first responders. Like,
they look at us, they're like,
don't tell me anything. Dan's like, no, listen up. It's 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have any other bonus story you want to throw in there?
I could give thousands the same. That, you know, Rachel and I both had, now obviously we work differently. We do all the consultations, you know, for Braincode and networking and everything, but we both come from a clinical background of seeing clients for many years. I'm thinking of one woman specifically who came in and saw me, and it was a story of anxiety, just crippling anxiety. And she was like, I can't get on a plane. I can hardly get in my car. I'm having a hard time going to work. Like, and what started out feeling fairly manageable, right? Like, I've had anxiety for a long time, but it used to feel manageable. Now it's like taken over my life. And after 40 sessions of neurofeedback, she did in-person neurofeedback with me, 40 sessions, she flew to China. And she texted me when she was in China, and she was like, I literally thought that I could never travel again. Like, I thought that I was a maybe road trip to another state type of situation. Yeah. She's like, I feel like I've gotten my life back. That, you know, and, you know, she was thanking me, and I'm like, no, your brain did the work. And I know too, you know, we never talked about the Lord, but I'm like, the Lord just allows Rachel and I to give that avenue, right? That, you know, I would love to be like, neurofeedback's the sickest thing ever. It is. But it really is just our like ability and vehicle to serve people through Jesus.
Yeah,
like, that's awesome. All it is, you know, that we're not pastors. Like, we don't have the opportunity to talk about that in that way, but we can offer an avenue of healing through Jesus, which is neurofeedback.
It's awesome.
Come on.
You also described last time after we had recorded people that, like, they have some sort of health issue that wouldn't immediately make you think, oh, it's something with the brain, like a digestive issue or something, but you kind of watch when you start with the brain, how it helps with those other things. If there's people that maybe have a health issue that they don't think this would be the thing for because it's not a mental health issue, what would you say to those kinds of situations?
Rachel talk about that, because we deal with so many people, chronic pain and gut issues, or, you know, physical pains, different places, headaches, right? We see a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think health, again, is so holistic. Like, we love neurofeedback. That's the lane that we stay in, and we are experts in that. But gosh, when people come to us and they're like, I've seen a nutritionist, I've done talk therapy, and nothing's worked. I'm like, it has worked, right? All of that has been beneficial. Let's please not put that to waste. But maybe we need to address the hardware so that now all of that time that you took on 5 years of therapy or nutrition work can actually like harvest itself, right?
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, we have clients where they've done tons and tons of therapies or trying to address their gut, and then all of a sudden we down regulate a stress brainwave. All of a sudden right now cortisol is lower and they're not experiencing adrenal fatigue. And now all of a sudden they're not reactive to everything that they're eating, right? Because your system isn't just on like high alert and overdrive. Right. Was like neurofeedback the only reason? No, they had done everything, but their brain was still in a state of fight or flight.
Wow. You cannot heal when you're in a sympathetic nervous system state. You absolutely cannot. And if people don't know what sympathetic nervous system is, when you are hijacked, right? When your brain is in fight or flight and you're in that, like right before you rear end a car, you get that feeling. A lot of people live there. You absolutely cannot heal in that state. So we have to work on the nervous system, bring you down into parasympathetic so that you can start to heal. And a lot of people are trying to heal in a sympathetic nervous system state, and it's not going to happen.
Wow.
It's called rest and digest and rest and repair, right? Like the parasympathetic state,
Yep.
which should be like the norm. And then we utilize fight or flight when we need it. But now it's kind of swapped where we all are kind of in low grade fight or flight all the time.
Oh, man.
And then
Seems as such.
we go on vacations to try to get a little taste of like rest and repair.
We think that will change us, but actually like it comes back to us, right? Like if I just change my situation, right? I'll go on vacation and then I will rest. You are still you on vacation.
Yeah.
And if you are sympathetic fight or flight, you bring you there, right? Like your brain does not change.
It makes me think of our trainer in Denver, who's an absolute beast, savage. We're obsessed with him. Shout out to Bo. One of the things he said to me that absolutely stuck with me is he doesn't like when he takes his physical training very seriously.
Yeah.
He also believes that the people that train with him, if they're out and about, like they're reflecting his ability to dial in their training, right? Like they're reflective of him. So he takes not just the body approach, but also how are my clients regulating their breath? How much control do they have over their nervous system? He's like, because if you come in here, beast out a workout, and then you go flip off everybody and like honk and stuff. So he's really big on, does your nervous system reflect the environment that you're in? If it doesn't, that is something that you need to address. So talking more about like what you were saying today, this constant resetting and us stepping into a heightened sense of awareness of, does my nervous system really reflect, like I'm just hanging out with the kids, I'm decompressing after a long day and I'm like annoyed and impatient. Like, does your nervous system reflect like you're just at home hanging out with the wife and kids? You know, so it's something that we should all be mindful of.
That's right.
Man.
Can I shift gears and quiz you on some chemicals how they affect your brain?
More
real
quizzes.
quick.
I was just going to say, we're coming in hot with the quizzes
You know a lot
today.
about the brain.
Fired up.
And you passed through Kayla's gauntlet of brain busters. I want to ask you about, first off, nicotine.
Ooh.
There's a lot of talk about nicotine. And if there's any of this that you're like, that's not really our lane, that's fine. But there's a lot of people that are saying like, oh, it's actually been being found to be really beneficial for you. And then other people that are like, well, they want you to say that so you'll buy Zyn or whatever.
For raw.
What do you know about nicotine's effect on the brain?
I feel like you've been talking about this lately.
I've been talking, I don't know. Yeah, nicotine has been like a soapbox for me recently. So you're exactly right that there is a lot of talk around like, ooh, in these tiny doses, whatever. I will ask you, how many people do you know that take a super tiny amount of nicotine? Right? Like in the small little, like these little teeny weeny doses. One, nicotine is highly addictive.
Right.
Okay, so let's just address that. So anything I think that you start taking in tiny doses, like, do you stay there? Like, truly. So like anything else, if you have a glass of wine on the occasion, hey, you do you, right? Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that if that is not a problem for you. So yeah, I guess if you use nicotine on the occasion, I don't even know why you would do that, but you know, whatever, as a little bit of a stimulant, okay, fine. I don't think that's the worst thing ever. The people that I know that Zyn are $10 a day, a pack. You got those pouches at 24/7. No, like no one can tell me in any way that is beneficial for the brain. You are putting a stimulant, something synthetic into your brain 24/7. You know what that affects? Your mood, your cognition, your sleep in a negative way. So I'm not gonna, same thing.
You'd give it the no.
I'd give it a hard pass. It's the same thing with the microdosing, right? People are like, well, microdosing psilocybin, there's so much positive to that. One, what defines a microdose? Two, what defines positive outcome, right? Like, let's talk about all the, also, we see far more people who come to us who have had a bad trip, right? They freaked out. Their brain has experienced bad negative side effects of that. And now we have to repair.
Yeah.
So
What is that, like a hallucinogen type thing? What's that doing to the brain? What's happening?
It was so psilocybin stimulant. So it's speeding up the brain, right? Which some people like. So if people have, taken a stimulant, if you take it, let's say a microdose or a social dose, but you do it too late in the day and you struggle with sleep, like you might be a little stimulated till the rest of the night. So stimulant first and foremost, but if you take too much of it, right, then you're having that hallucinogenic effect, which again, there's so much controversy on it, on what's appropriate, why are people doing it. I've heard even a lot of religious people, they're, having psilocybin like in a regulated environment to evoke like a spiritual connection. I have not done that, so I don't know. Like perhaps that takes you to another level, or you hear from God, or like a new channel.
Seems like a lot of people hear from somebody.
I kind of feel,
Well, I'm
like,
microdosing
what?
right now, so I can tell you guys. It's just, yeah.
I always am like, what are you looking for? Right.
Yeah,
That to me,
that's a good
that to me is,
question.
what are you looking for? What are you hoping to find through drugs? Like, let's be honest, like we can call it whatever we want. That's a drug, right? That's something,
Right.
Like, I don't know. I'm kind of stay away. That just is not, I'm not
How
trying
about just some neurotropics? Like, can we just take a
For
few, like some lion's mane? You want to stay in that lane,
Tell me about
little
that.
gink-
I know.
little
of some
ginkgo?
alpha.
brain.
What are those things doing?
I'm actually a big fan of neurotropics. I have sort of a similar pattern to Doug. I have a little bit more of like the theta, some slower alpha. My processing speed's good, but then I have some beta, which makes us like motivated and stuff. But I can definitely like downshift into, I love coffee. I love, trying to get my brain sped up. But all that to be said, I like a neurotropic effect because you take a lion's mane or a cordyceps or whatever. Maybe I'm saying that cordyceps. Why am I saying that wrong? Mushroom. And it's blend, so it helps like create more of a cognitive clarity effect, right? Really good for memory, good for cognition, good for the brain to kind of come online, if you will. So I don't know if you've ever tried a neurotropic, but I like them. And that way you're not, having to utilize other substances like nicotine, also a stimulant that might have more harmful effects on our health. So that's,
Those are
Not too-
different type of mushroom.
Not too many people are addicted to nootropics.
Right.
Yeah, different kind of mushroom.
Yeah,
different kind of mushroom.
different kind of mushroom.
Natural kind of mushroom.
And marijuana, what's it doing to your brain?
Oh man, I can go off on that. So guys, like I get that it's, legal in Colorado and stuff like that. Whatever you want to say, every single brain that we've seen that has been smoking weed or marijuana for a long time of usage, it's just not good for overall health. Memory, drive, motivation. It can actually long-term lead to depression.
Causes frontal alpha slowing.
We can see it. Like we can see if we have a teenager or something. Now the teenager's like, oh my gosh, I don't want my mom to bring me in. But like, you smoking weed? Like it's all in the frontal lobe. And so who wants their, like you guys, frontal lobe.
The CEO.
The
Which
CEO.
stands for,
As I understand, means
Yeah.
Chief Executive Officer.
yeah,
You
great.
want it to be like groggy and foggy and kind of chill.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
You know what?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be motivated to get your job, get your work done, like take the trash out? I mean, it gets bad for some people.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
now a lot of people will say, oh, well, I need to do it to like go to bed, or like it makes me super creative, or okay, like whatever justifications you want. But let's just throw it out there. It really doesn't benefit cognitive performance.
And you got to a deeper thing that I think is good is what are we here for? Like, what is the reason you want to use this? What are you looking for? And there's probably some better
Yeah,
ways to get to that.
for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you. Very insightful.
I'd be looking for healing in other ways versus, kind of it's always like, I need to do this to evoke something or find something. Like one, what are you looking for? And two, why does it have to involve a substance?
Yeah. Well, here's what I think it's cool what you guys do. One, I always trust when people are open to like, we're not the only thing. Sometimes people have their method and they're like, you don't need anything else. This is the only thing you need. But you guys seem to be like helping build a foundation for people. So let's look at the hardware and then some other things like talk therapy, or maybe there's a time and place for medication and those things can work together. But we want to get to the root here of something that's neglected in the brain. And I see in what you're doing a goal that people will eventually get to a place where they don't need to go reach for something because they can just be healthy as they are. And that's the on earth as in heaven, where you don't need a substance of any kind anymore. And I think everyone on the human level reaches for something because we're not whole in some way. We're broken, and it's numbing us or it's helping speed us up because we can't get there on our own, whatever it is. And it's a beautiful thing to help people find a way to do that without living a life of constantly filling your plate with a bunch of different things that are ultimately not great for you. So I think it's awesome. I'm excited to gain some empathy in my life.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Steph to sleep and actually feel rested.
That's right.
Some cool things.
And to understand that it's not your fault that you don't have empathy. She needs to know that.
Yeah, Steph, come on.
Everyone needs to know.
It's time. It's time I'm vindicated.
But I do like that's my journey for 20 years is I hijack the system instead of healing it.
Yeah.
With a number of different
the hijack
things.
is easier and more quick.
Well, it's helpful.
It feels
It's helpful
like, okay,
because
well,
I
can just
need
do
it
that
today. Yeah,
This will
exactly.
take time, but
Yeah.
ultimately, what do you want in the long?
I see a future where I'm like, I don't want to have to hijack
Yeah.
That's right.
my brain or my mind or my body.
Self-regulate
Yeah,
through exterior
exactly.
means. Like
Yeah.
we should be able to do that on our own.
That's awesome.
And then after that, after your empathy is solved, then we can start working on golf game, dropping the handicap.
Yes.
I have a question.
Good.
The real important
Like
thing.
you can do
That's-
neurofeedback for that?
All
Okay.
So I
We're
could
going to
be-
have to do
so
part
I
3
could
to
be-
this
I can be a scratch
conversation.
golfer if
Yeah.
I do some neurofeedback.
No.
That's great to hear.
golf is all about regulating your system.
For
You have to go from the
sure.
tee box in a power state, beta, and then down regulate within 15 to 20 minutes into your slowest regulated state to tap a putt in. It's the coolest game ever. You get to do that 18 times. Talk about
Amen, Rachel.
neuro
Let's go.
adaptability.
So would you say that maybe I'm not great at putting historically because my brain's just,
Oh my gosh, are you bad at putting?
I've struggled at
That
times.
would make sense.
Yeah,
getting better
You
though.
brain
He's so
that.
bad at it.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
that's
Let me tell
why.
you who smacks at putting. Rachel. So Rachel and
Looking
I
down.
also create one excellent golfer together.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all drive all day, and then I will chip 45 minutes, 15 putts later. It's the worst. Whereas Rachel, I'll drive it there, she'll bring it home.
Okay.
So-
We
And then
create one
scramble
excellent
style.
golfer.
And then
you guys
she has
are- yeah.
a strong start, and I like absolutely light it up on the back. So
Oh, the front 9, and then it's like something happens. Like, bye.
What's your favorite course that you two like to play?
Oh my god.
well, I mean,
It's Mexico.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
be straight.
Okay.
It's Mexico.
That makes
Puertos,
sense.
Los Cabos.
Puertos Los Cabos in
The
Mexico.
tacos every
comfort
couple.
station. Let me tell you about
Okay.
a comfort station. Every
It's like
4
about
holes.
parasympathetic nervous system right here.
Yeah,
Let me
with
tell you
the
about something. Angie, do you want a margarita and some tacos every 4 holes? I sure do. Yes, yep.
That's
whilst looking at
Yepers.
the
like a
ocean.
nice,
When in Rome.
nice-
While looking
Or
at
Cabo.
the ocean, I could be playing the worst I've ever played in my life, and I'm like, it's not that bad. It's
Yeah.
actually all right.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Doug, I'm going to see if Cabo Bob's will sponsor a trip
Thank
for us
you.
to go play golf just to work on our brain waves. And,
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
well, cheers to you both.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
my
and
gosh.
It was awesome.
for people that we shared this with our episode with Angie, but look up Braincode Centers. And if you're somebody who's maybe struggling with something or think this could be helpful, I hope that some of our people link up with you guys.
We've had a pretty fantastic response from the Red Rocks community, as well as,
Come on.
we are the Red Rocks community, right? Like we are not just coming on as experts. Like we've been going to we're OG Red Rocks from, many years ago, creepy theme park. And so it really is like having family call in and,
That's
like,
so cool.
oh my God, like, hey, I heard you on the Afterthoughts, this touched my life. Thanks for sharing your story. So
Yeah.
you guys give us the ability to have a platform to just share a message of hope.
Let's go.
Go follow
What's the
us on
brain code?
Instagram.
yeah, so let's get
Website. What's
how
the
people
website?
connect with you.
Well, yeah, definitely just go give us some love on Instagram. We'd like to be educational. I try to make Angie funny on there via videos.
Very good.
Not really that good at it, but
You're
we
the best
crush
at
it.
it.
And then brainCodeCenters.com. But truly, like if someone wants to learn more or you're struggling and there's no pressure at all, like schedule a one-on-one consultation. Like let us just talk to you. Let us give you some hope, even if it's just through the lens of education.
That's right.
Yeah, we're always here.
And it will literally be Rachel or I who will talk to you. So
And if it's
cool.
not
Heck
if it's
yeah.
not Braincode 2, we will give you some other amazing resources, whether it's around the country or if it's in the Denver or Austin area. Like we have quite a few resources that we love and are trusted. So we're also happy to help people navigate those conversations.
It's awesome.
All ships rise.
all ships
All ships rise. We really pray that you can fix Doug. And thanks for trying. Well, you heard it here first. Braincode Centers, and CEO means Chief Executive Officer. You've learned so much. The brain does not weigh up to 7 pounds. So many things that we've covered today.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
It's quite
We'll see you again.
educational.
Yes.